So we're just starting this test route on Wilton Avenue outside the test centre in Milton Keynes, and one of the first things I want to mention is that obviously we're going to go left at the end of here first, so I'm just checking what's going on. Now these videos are great, but you still need to be able to drive, so the idea of the video is to give you an idea of the routes that you're going to possibly go on your driving test. So we're heading down towards Bletchley. This route I'm doing now, I'm going to call it route number 5, and it's quite an interesting route. It's got a good country section on it. So at the end of the road we're going to do a left turn. Now the important thing is you do everything like you normally do. So when you've been taught off your instructor, it's check the centre mirror left and signalling, let everyone know. And when you're approaching junctions, you're checking both ways to make sure it's clear. It's not just a quick jump out, it's right, left, right. I'm going right at the roundabout, so it's check your mirrors, signalling, checking your shoulder, coming across. And you can see there's a white car on the roundabout, so I'm slowing down for him. It's clear on my right, immediate right. I'm following it round, changing that gear. Last thing I want to be is in first gear too long, otherwise the car's going to rev up. While we're going along the route, what I'm not going to do is do a manoeuvre, but I'll point out what sort of manoeuvres you get on this route. Now towards the end of the route you sometimes get a turning road, which is a 3-point turn, or if the examiner decides he can give you a left reverse or a parallel park in the first few minutes of this route. And if you're going to get it, I'll show you where you're going to get it. So the important thing is that when you're driving along, you keep the car moving at a nice speed. You know, it's a 30-mile-an-hour road, and I'm doing 27, so it's been appropriate speed for the conditions. You can see the signs ahead of you means you've got right of way. So it's about checking your mirror to come out, anticipation of the car coming out, so you're braking a little bit at the same time. You've got a yellow van on the left, which is a hazard, because you can see the cars coming through, so you're slowing down, anticipation of the new giveaway line. Give them a little bit of space for the van. Finding your gear to move off, and then you're carrying on. At the roundabout, it's a left turn. Checking their mirrors, signalling, giving way to the car who's indicating on the right. That's it. And then we're going to do a right turn at this point into Westfield Road. And you can see a hazard straight away. Now if a hazard weren't there, you might be doing a parallel park with the green car in front of you, and straight after the green car there's a left reverse on that left turn. So that's where they tend to do the manoeuvres there. We're just going to carry on driving. When you do start your driving test, you need to keep your nerves under control, because the first few minutes people tend to rush, and the last 5 minutes of the test people tend to kind of stop doing what they've been doing for the last 35 minutes, which is drive properly. So they start rushing things again. Remember, the examiner's there to assess your driving, see if you've got the standard. And the important thing is when you're driving along, you maintain the standard that you've been doing with your instructor. So we're coming to a crossroads, and we're going to go ahead at the crossroads. So it's a bit of a blind junction, so we're slowing down for stopping at the white line. Selecting first gear, checking both ways, and then we're off straight away. So you might be there for a few seconds, you might be there for 30 seconds, it all depends on the traffic, but the important thing is you're slowing down to give way. Now on this left bend we're going to do a right turn, so we're checking the mirrors to the right, signalling, checking to the left because it's a bit of a tricky one, and then following it across without cutting across the road too early. Looking up the road, anticipation of a problem, finding your first gear, that way you're not stopping. Another problem with the car there, so I'm slowing down for him. That's it. Little things like that people appreciate rather than trying to rush through. I remember I had a pupil about 6 years ago coming down this road and said to the examiner, "Which way do we go?" And as she said it, she realised there's a blue sign that says left. The examiner says to her, "The sign says left." At that point, you give her a serious for not checking road signs. So if the examiner says nothing to you, he's going to expect you to follow the road ahead or whichever way the road goes. If they want you to go left or right, they'll ask you. We're going to do a right turn at the moment, so we're checking our mirrors, signalling, and we're going to go into North Street. And you can see ahead of us it's quite clear. Now as soon as you turn right, you're going to be turning right again. So it's mirror signal right, clear ahead of you onto Western Road. Little tricky road this, it's quite long, loads of parked cars, so you need to be looking right up the road in the correct gear. There's no point in being in first gear, it's too slow, unless you have to slow down for something. And because it's double parked cars, you have to drive in the middle. You can't give a door's width to one side, otherwise you'll be too close to the other. But at the same time, when we get past this white van on the left, we're going to bring ourselves back into our side. It's big enough to come into. You wouldn't stay in the middle of the road for no reason. And then it gives you time to look up the road. I think it's pretty clear. So I'm just taking my time. These little hump speed bumps, they're there to slow you down. So if you're slowing down from, check the middle mirror, see what's going on behind you. And then see the gap on the left, I'm going to bring myself into it to see what's up the road more. I'm just taking my time because it's a little bit tricky. You won't be rushing around here. Every time I'm about to pull out, I'm checking my right mirror to make sure there's no motorbike or car trying to squeeze past me. And you can see ahead of you there's a car coming down the road now. Don't panic, there's a nice big gap on the right and there's a gap on the left for me. So do you see he's pulled in there? So he's letting me go, so I'm going to carry on going at this point, and I'll even give him a wave because that's a good thing. When they do things like that, it's worth letting them know. And it's a taxi as well, so that's a good thing. You don't get many taxis doing that. Now at the end of the road, it's a crossroads. We're going to do a left turn. Anybody notice the sign on the left in red? It's a stop junction. Check the mirrors, signalling, get your position, and because it's a stop junction, use your handbrake. By putting your handbrake on, you've let the examiner know that you know it's a stop place. If you kind of use your clutch and brake and you roll slightly, you've not technically stopped. It's right at the roundabout, it's a little mini one. It's quite a big one, but still a mini. See the blue sign, it's painted white in the middle. Checking to your right, it's quite a busy one. So you're looking for cars that are going to help you and take advantage of that one coming across. Otherwise you could be sat there giving way to your right. There's a nice big queue on the right. All I done was I looked for a traffic on the left who was turning right, who was blocking them. And then we're heading towards Simpson. Now if you look at the double roundabout sign on the right, Simpson's left turn. So we're going to check our mirrors and signal. So we're coming out to Bletchley, or this part's Fenny Stratford. Checking to the right, nice and clear. And we're going down Simpson Road at the moment. So it looks not too bad. There's a couple of parked cars and a level crossing ahead of us with a barrier up. So we're taking our time, edging out. There's a nice big gap if we have to go into it. The yellow van ahead of us is too far away. The lights have not started warning us yet, so we're going to continue going, but we need to watch what we go past this brown UPS van. That's it. You can't go too fast because there's too many obstacles. You can't see around them. So you've got to be controlling the speed. Saying that, I'm still in third gear. I'm just controlling the speed. I'm only doing about 18 mile an hour around here at the moment. Where if you stayed in second, you might hear the car revving up a lot. So you use right gears. See, it's opened up now. So I'm in third, but I'm accelerating towards 28 mile an hour. We've got a red light ahead of us. So you just need to anticipate that the red light's probably going to change when you get there. So as you're slowing down, you're thinking about your gear change. See, it's changing, so I've selected second, check my mirror to come out. Because I don't want to go in third because it's a bit narrow, this road. And if you see the speed limit change ahead of us straight away, national speed limit, lots of learners miss that one because they concentrate on the road, not looking what's ahead of them. So if you're coming down here on your test, you need a reasonable speed. Now it looks quite dangerous, but if you can drive safely in fourth gear, and at the moment I'm doing 45 on this bit here, and I'm slowing down for the bends a little bit. As I get on the straight bit, I'm accelerating more. You can see there. Now the curb's sticking out on the left, so you need to go a little bit wider. And I'm getting towards 50 miles an hour using fifth gear at the moment. And then ahead of you, the speed limit's coming back down to 30, so you've not got a lot of time. So you're checking your mirror, slowing down for the speed limit change. By getting your speed up and using your gears, you're letting the examiner know that you know it's a speed limit change. And also, if you kept it at say 30 all the way along there, and there's a car or van behind you, they're going to overtake you. They're not going to sit behind you at 30 miles on that straight bit. They'll be quite happy to overtake you. So we're in Simpson now. It's been relayed, it looks nice and smooth, but these little speed bumps you've got to slow down for. If you go from too fast, you can get penalised. And also, if you go from too fast after your test, you can lose control. So you need to remember that the examiner's there to assess your driving, and you need to be able to drive when you take your driving test, because if you just think, oh, I'm fine, I'm going to put my foot down everywhere, then you're probably going to pick up a fault or a series for something silly. So you've got a sharp bend, black and white arrow sign ahead of us, so we're slowing down for the bend, because we don't know what's around it. It could be a parked car. Well, it is, but it's actually in a parking spot, so that makes it a little bit easier. And you're accelerating at this point, back up to third, checking your mirror, a little bit of braking again for that bit of a flat speed bump. But you don't know how flat it is. And then we're going to do a left turn. So we're slowing down, looks like a narrow road. And because it looks like a narrow road, just be a little bit more careful. You can't see around the corner. There could be a car coming down, or a bin lorry, and if you look ahead of you, you can see the road bending sharply to the right. So you need to come off the gas a bit and slow down, otherwise you're going to race around that corner and there could be a car coming the other way. So I'm slowing down because that black car's parked in a dangerous spot. I'm just taking it nice and slow, and that way it gives me time to react to other cars. I won't go around there. At that point I was doing 10 miles an hour. Even now I'm still doing 10 miles an hour. I'm just going to pull over on the left just here. There's nothing around, there's no signal required. But I did check my mirrors. Now, at this point, you're going to do some independent driving on the test. So we're going to follow the road to the end of this road and turn left at the junction, and then we're going to start following signs for Milton Keynes North. So I'm just checking around and moving off nicely. It's quite an interesting test, independent drive, this one, because it's not a particularly hard one. It's just a double roundabout to negotiate on it, which is not hard. Checking the mirrors, letting everyone know you're going left. So we're coming out of Simpson at the moment, which that road had spinning was Hammer Road. And then you can see the signs ahead of you. Milton Keynes North is a left at the junction, and you can see the speed limit signs going up to 60 miles an hour. So I'm checking the mirror, signalling, early observations, tells you if you can get out. Now if you're checking nice and early, you can see at the moment I'm entering the H9 Grove Way. So it's gone from 60 to 70, so I'm going to pull out because he's going quite slow. You won't want to see a slow-moving vehicle for no reason, and I'm pulling back in. Now the roundabout's ahead of us, and it's saying Milton Keynes North to right turn, so I'm going to have to come back out. So just check the mirrors, check my shoulder, and I'm controlling the speed, bringing it back down. Now you could sit behind the lorry, that white van would overtook him if he was accelerating fast, but he was struggling to pick up his speed then. Now we're going to do a right turn. There's a white truck going slowly, checking the mirrors, signalling to come off. And I'm coming across to the left. Now I can't go into the right lane because it's closed. There's a sign just telling me then. And you can only go as fast as the car in front of you at this point. So I'm dropping back a bit, giving them that 4-second gap because it's raining. Where if it's not raining, 2-second gap. Now what you need to remember is when you're sat behind high-sided vehicles, it's important to keep your space so that you can see the signs and you can react to them. Now it's a 70-mile-an-hour road, I'm doing 40, which is fine because the truck's doing 40, we can't go faster than that, but I've got a nice gap. And at this point I'm going to start following signs for Milton Keynes West. So we're just passing Netherfield, and on the left there's 2 sets of signs. So the first sign is the one you want to look for, and you can see on it Milton Keynes West is left, so it's left on both of them. Check your mirrors, signalling, it's gone back to dual carriageway at this point, so it's a left turn to Milton Keynes West. Checking to your right and slowing down for the traffic. That's it, and then we're following it out. So it was left, so stick to your left lane, there's no point in going to the middle. You can see on the green sign ahead of you, it's a left. Checking to your right. Now I couldn't really see much, but I was slowing down because the traffic on my right was slowing down, so it gives you a little warning sound. They're slowing down for something. I didn't pull out straight away until I could see what was coming. At this point, follow the road ahead, taking second exit, and then after that we're going to follow signs for Buckingham. So we're slowing down, checking to the right, it's nice and clear, keep it running smoothly, come across to the left lane is what you want. Letting everyone know you're coming off, checking your mirrors and signalling. You can see on the green sign, Buckingham straight ahead. Obviously if you're on your driving test at this point, you'll be along the route, they're going to pull you over about 5 times, and what they're checking for is that you can, I'm just waiting a minute, they're checking that you're checking your centre mirror, your left mirror, you're letting people know you're pulling over if you need to, so if people are around you let them know. And also when you're pulling off, they're checking that you're using the correct observations and pulling off smoothly. So that's sort of thing they're looking for. You can see the bus on the left not doing anything, so we're going to carry on going and I'm building the speed up. Now don't worry if cars shoot past you, as long as you're doing a reasonable speed, and I'm doing 55 miles an hour in a 70 road, which is wet, which is not bad, you know, don't want to go too fast, because I didn't get time to put the speed too much, but you're slowing down for the roundabouts, and the sign said to follow the road ahead, checking to the right, taking advantage of that, sticking to the left lane, slowing down for the lorry again, because he's in our way. See the grey car on the right then, it's a brake really hard then, it's not looking ahead too much. And you've got opportunity to build your speed up here. So by the time you get to high gear, you can start to slow back down, but what you don't want to fall into trap of is going slow. Because if there's opportunities to build your speed up, then that's what you do. And there's a nice little tester at the end. We've got another 5 minutes before we get to the end of the route, which is follow the road ahead at this point, and then the independent driving would finish. The examiner would take over his directions. So we just got to keep our space. And remember the 3 T's, I'm sure your instructor saw you. So when you pull them up behind the car, the 3 T's, which is the 2 tyres and the tarmac. So if you're driving behind the car in the driver's seat, if you can't see his tyres on the road, on the tarmac, then you're too close. So they call it the 3 T's, so keep your space when you're slowing down. And if you're too far away, then that's also quite bad, because what happens is if everyone starts being too far away, so it's like this bit here, if you're too far away from the car, then if everyone done that, before you know it, 10 cars in a row have added about another 5 or 6 cars on the length of it, and a small tailback becomes a big tailback. So you need to kind of slow down and stop at the right point. I'm just waiting for the safe gap. There's a nice big lorry coming round, so it's nice opportunities to get out. And then to remember, the last 5 minutes of the test is important. So at this point, independent driving is ended, and I'm following the signs. It's going to go left. So stop the mirrors, signalling. So build the speed about the roundabout then, and then you've got speed limit change. So you've been doing some fast roads for the last 10 minutes, and you're coming back to slow roads again. And if you've been driving around Bletchley a lot, then you'll recognise where you are at this point. We're in Denby Industry, so we're not far from the test centre, we're a few minutes away. So you just need to say to yourself, well, that's alright, I'm doing fine, I'm driving okay, I've got to maintain it. There's a roundabout, a mini one, I'm going to go right at that one. So I'm checking my mirrors and signalling. I don't want to be taking any silly risks at the end. I want to control the speed. If I can't see what's coming from the right, I'm slowing down more. So I'm checking to my right, slowing down for the van, the black car. Where the temptation was to shoot out them with that lorry being there, but that would have been dangerous. And then we're going left at this next left coming up, and getting your speed down, going onto Wally Drive. And then we're slowing down for the traffic. Now you can see on the left, you can see what's going at the bottom of the hill, so it gives you an idea if you can get out. So I'm checking to the right, and then committing myself at this point. I'm going to use that gap in the middle to come back in, just in case there's a car coming, which I can see there isn't, so I'm going to come straight back out again. But you won't stay out, because it'd be dangerous. Now, if you was going to do a turn road at the end, we're going to go ahead at this roundabout. You would be turning left at the roundabout into Melrose Avenue, and that's where they tend to do a turning road. It's a nice, easy turning road there, but sometimes they'll take on different routes. You can get one on the hill and one of the routes, but I'll do that later on. So this route we're doing now is a lot easier than the route number 4, which is a tricky one. So this route number 5 is quite good. And at the moment I'm doing 29 mile an hour in a 30 road. I'm using my gears, I'm using 4th gear at the same time. You know, people say to me, well, if you use 4th gear I'll go too fast. Well, you don't have to go fast, you can just take your foot off the gas a bit. Now I've dropped down to 3rd because there's a car there, and I've gone back up to 4th now. All I'm doing is slowing down for the hazards and using my gears at the same time. You'll find that a lot of test routes have a hill start on them, and this is no exception. They tend to pull you up on the left at this point here, along here, so where it's convenient. So you've got a nice hill start at the end of your test route. And same again, I'm doing 30 mile an hour, going a little bit wide to avoid this bin lid. So you need to watch out for obstacles that are not normally on the road. Checking my right mirror to come out, giving my doors width. So you still maintain the standards that you've been taught with your instructor. So it's just going back to what I said at the beginning. These test route videos are great, give you an idea of what sort of road you're going to cover on your tests in Bletchley, or if you're taking your test anywhere else, it gives you an idea of what sort of terrain you're going to do. But you still need to be able to drive, so it's not like the be all and end all. There's no point in saying, oh, I'm going to study the route and follow the route for word. You still need to be able to drive. I'm just giving you a guideline into what the route's like. So you've got a bend to the right, checking your right mirror, slowing down for the car because he suddenly turned up, selecting 1st gear, off the brake before you stop, back on the gas to go. So you're not actually stopping, it's just, as you're about to stop, you're off the brake, the car starts moving. It's easy to find the biting point. Checking left, signalling. Nice and clear. You got one last mini roundabout, which is a nice little tricky one. You build your speed up like you normally do, but you can see, or you can't see, I should say. You can see that on the right, it's a bit of a blind one, so you're slowing down for the people on the right, just in case. Reasonable speed, and then you're carrying on. Now, all you've got to do now is just follow the road ahead, and on the left where the black post with the red bits are, is the test centre, Wilton Avenue. You can see there's a learner car about to turn in there. So at this point you'll be just driving back into the test centre. Remember, you're still on the test route until you turn off in the test centre. So maintain it. I'm just going to do a left turn here. And I'm going to pull up on the left. So that's route number 5 that we've done. I hope you find it information. I hope you find the information quite interesting for you, and I look forward to showing you the next one. Take care.